The Yankees have found their next superstar, as this pitcher who did phenomenal throughout the 2025 regular season just showed his talents and abilities in the Arizona Fall League, and this is huge for the Yankees moving forward. I will break down all of this and more on another edition of Yankees Digest. What's going on, guys? Alex Brooks back here on Yankees Digest to give you guys everything surrounding the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees are currently in this offseason. We're getting ready for all of the news and every sort of thing that's breaking regarding the Yankees signings. We had some tender contracts that came up. We have all of these rumors that are coming up regarding the New York Yankees, and we're going to break it down here on another edition of Yankees Digest. But before we get into this video, we currently see that 69% of you guys are not subscribed to this channel. So if you're tuning into this video and you want to learn everything about the New York Yankees and join a great group of very passionate Yankee fans, you guys better hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the New York Yankees and who you want to see in the Bronx coming up in 2026. But getting right into this video as we talk about the Arizona Fall League, and with regarding to the Arizona Fall League, it is an important time for a lot of prospects, because when you're looking at this league, it's a developmental league where it only happens after the season. It's when prospects can go down there and really show their talents. They can really go and show what they can do and show major league teams, show their organization that they're a bona fide star. And I think that's something that is very important for a lot of guys, not just right now, but in the past. And I'll show you guys a little bit of what I'm talking about moving forward. But when we're looking at a guy like Cade Smith, this was someone who was known throughout the Yankees organization, but he's the 19th best prospect in the Yankee system, and he really showed out in this Arizona Fall League. A little bit more on Cade Smith and what he was able to show for this New York Yankees organization was special. He said Smith leaned heavily on his pair of breaking balls during the second Arizona Fall League outing Tuesday, retiring the first 11 batters he faced en route to a 6-3 Mesa win over Salt River at Sloan Park. He yielded a single to his final hitter, who came around to score it later in the frame, marrying an otherwise sparkling 3 2/3 innings, 5 strikeout afternoon. And this is something that's very intriguing to know, that, with Cade Smith coming in here as the 19th best prospect of the New York Yankees, he came in here and he just wanted to execute. And I think that's the biggest thing, what you ask for from a guy who's the 19th best prospect and someone who wants to just make a name for himself. And I think when you're looking at this Yankees prospects right now, they are really good at developing pitchers. They're really good at developing and drafting pitchers. And I think that's something that is huge to just see what's happening in the major leagues right now with Cam Schlittler. He came up, he was doing really well. You see Will Warren, he's had some success. Hasn't been, the ace of the staff, or like even 1 through 3 being a star pitcher there where you're putting him in a do or die playoff game. But when you're looking at how the Yankees have been able to develop pitchers over the last 3 to 4 years, it has been very impressive. Knowing that you got guys on contract right now like Max Fried, Gerrit Cole, and Carlos Rodon, who didn't come up through your system, that with the 4th and 5th pitchers, or 4th and 5th spot, that you have a lot of guys that are developing and are trying to go and be the future of the Yankees pitching rotation, because you never know when these guys break down. You never know when you need these guys moving forward. And I think that's something that is so huge from the Yankees and Cade Smith, to just show himself and have the sacrifice in time just to go after the season and say, hey, I want to develop my game, I want to be more competitive. And it just really shows why you are able to go in there and just be successful. And I think when you're looking at this Arizona Fall League, remember Caleb Durbin was a star in the Arizona Fall League last year, and he made so much of a name for himself that he ended up being a trade piece that landed Devin Williams from the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, you may say, like, oh, if we don't re-sign Devin Williams, then we're not going to, it's not going to matter. But at the end of the day, you were able to get a, top 3 closer at the time type of talent when trading away Caleb Durbin because he's made all that hype, and that's shown other teams that they want to tap into that potential. So it's very interesting to see how the Arizona Fall League can really make, guys that are unknown into really good players. And I think that's something when you're looking at Cade Smith and what he was able to do in the 2025 regular season. And when you're looking at what he was able to do in the regular season in 2025, he was all over the board. He was in the he was starting off in the lower level. He was starting off in the Florida Coast League and then went up to Tampa Tarpons and then ended his season in Hudson Valley. So to be able to develop and go on 3 teams in the 2025 season, it just shows how much he is like dedicated to this game because how much his development has been really good this season. And I think what's most impressive is that he had a better ERA in Hudson Valley than he did in Tampa. So when he went up to, high A with the Hudson Valley Renegades, he pitched to a 2.76 ERA. And I think that's so impressive to see that, with better competition, he raised his game. And I think that's very impressive from, a pitcher that goes in there, has a little bit more starts with Hudson Valley, but he's able to really control and have command of his pitches. And that's something that you want to see, the buzz around a number 19 prospect, a pitcher that could be really good for years to come. And I think when you're looking at just what Cade Smith did throughout this Arizona Fall League, this is something that was interesting to bring up. Smith has good feel for his spin with a plus mid 80s slider and a solid low 80s curveball, and he sets up his breaking balls with a 92 to 94 mile per hour fastball that touches 96. The 2023 sixth rounder from Mississippi State missed time with shoulder issues this season, but has returned to post a 2.13 ERA while allowing just 9 base runners and striking out 14 and 12 and 2/3 innings. So he was dealing with shoulder issues this season. So he was dealing with a lot of different things this season, but he was able to persevere and say, I didn't get a lot of time in the regular season. I'm going to make my due and, catch up on a lot of innings and eat a lot of innings in the Arizona Fall League. And it's just a test of what Cade Smith is as a pitcher and as a person to really focus on that execution. A little bit more on his execution was his development and what he said regarding going to the Arizona Fall League. He said, everything's changed, said Smith of his arsenal from his final Mississippi State outing to now. I'm paying more attention to execution instead of just being a thrower. And I think that is really a test to his development and what he wants to be moving forward as a pitcher, because you never know when pitchers get that sort of mindset. They want to make sure that they can focus on execution, focus on developing their pitches. And it's better that they do that now than they do in the major leagues. Because when you were, I think it just reminds me of when Aroldis Chapman would just focus on being a thrower, and he would just really focus on, just throwing very fast with his fastball. And then when he was with the Boston Red Sox, he developed a little bit more with his fastball. Hey, saying, going inside, using a little bit more movement. So I think that's something that, really hindered Chapman. It helped him out in Boston this year to get him a contract, but he's at the tail end of his career. So when you're looking at pitchers, it's very interesting that it doesn't really matter what age they are at, but it's very important that Cade Smith is able to develop that mindset early, then later in his career to just have more, time to execute his pitches and be a really good pitcher. And I think another thing to talk about with this Arizona Fall League is how many stars have come from this Arizona Fall League. I mean, you're looking at this list right now. You're looking at Albert Pujols, Mike Trout, Scherzer, Betts, Jeter, Utley, Freeman, Roy Halladay, Aaron Judge, and Todd Helton. You're looking at all of those guys. There's more, but when you're looking at all of those guys have been able to go and not just think that they're, the best thing since sliced bread. They go out there and they go to the Arizona Fall League, develop their game, and really make a name for themselves. And that's what all of these guys did. All of these guys were in the position that Cade Smith was, years earlier in their minor league career. I mean, speaking of Aaron Judge, he made a name for himself in the Arizona Fall League, developed himself, and now he's the captain of the New York Yankees. A lot of these guys on here are Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. And it's so interesting to see how this Arizona Fall League has been able to develop a lot of great guys and a lot of, great talent in this league that you're seeing over the past 10 to 20 years. So I think it's just interesting to know that, Cade Smith, you never know what he is going to be moving forward, but I definitely think the Yankees are going to have another superstar on their hands because just of his mindset to be able to, know that he is focused on his execution, focused on developing his pitches, and that's something that you really want to see from a young pitcher in the Yankees organization. But that's going to do it for another edition of Yankees Digest. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified of all of our videos. We're going to have videos regarding trade targets, regarding prospects in the New York Yankees farm system. Winter meetings are coming up, so make sure you're subscribed so you're updated on everything revolving the New York Yankees. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and as always, let's go Yankees.